Hey, what is going on, Fan Clan? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Danny Phantom. Hope you guys all had a wonderful week. Happy Friday. Hope you have a fun weekend planned. Hopefully you're doing something fun. Hopefully your summer's going well. We've been spending a lot of time over the last few weeks now going over data and analysis from Chilling Reign pull rates to battle styles and shining fates and hidden fates, and just kind of going over where the market was 4 or 5 months ago to where it is now and see what's changed. And there's been a lot of changes that have occurred. We've talked about this in great lengths already, and I wanted to kind of go over a video that talks about where we go from here, whether you're a store owner or whether you're a collector. I think there's going to be something that everybody's going to be able to take out of this video, just kind of going over some additional data and going over ways that you can continue to grow your collection or grow your business in a market that is starting to shift back to where it was, a year and a half ago. At one point in time, we were selling Sword and Shield booster boxes when they first came out, Rebel Clash booster boxes when they first came out, even Darkness Ablaze booster boxes before they even came out. You could find these booster boxes pretty much anywhere online for $100, $105, $95, some cases even less than that if you were buying a case. And then Vivid Voltage hit, and Vivid Voltage kind of changed things. There was a lot of companies that were taking pre-orders kind of at a normal rate, $105, $100, $110, somewhere around there. And then we got the whole understanding that Pokemon was running out of them. There was a short print run. You weren't able to get any additional boxes. There was going to be another print that was going to come out sometime in December, a second wave, and that would kind of reestablish the rest of those allocations that a lot of distributorships had promised to people, and that kind of jacked up the prices a little bit to that $140, $150 mark. And then you saw a point where Vivid Voltage was above $200, but that's really the only booster box that we've had a huge issue with, because there wasn't another release then until Battle Styles. As far as a main series set goes, we had Shining Fates come out. There was still some aftermath of Champion's Path where you were seeing double and triple MSRP, but for the most part, booster boxes have stayed well below MSRP across the board, except for Vivid Voltage. And then you had some issues where everything else was out of print. There wasn't anything that Pokemon was providing us with. We weren't getting any news of reprints for anything like Darkness Ablaze or Sword and Shield and Rebel Clash. And still to this day, we don't have any news or idea on whether they're going to continue to print more of those booster boxes. So that's why you see some of those price tags still up closer to that $200 mark for some of those sets that are still technically in format, which is rather unfortunate. But we did see Vivid Voltage come down because they did have a decent sized reprint. We saw Chilling Reign come out, and while a lot of pre-orders for that were hovering around that $140 mark, right around MSRP, that second wave and that additional product is starting to bring that price down where you can find it comfortably for $120 to $125. And I really do think that once that second wave hits stores, you're going to see that closer to that $100 mark, that $100, $105, $110 mark, especially with what you saw with Battle Styles. Battle Styles was another set where pre-orders, you were looking at $130, somewhere around there, still a little bit below MSRP, but much higher than what a lot of people are typically used to when it comes to booster boxes. So right now you were looking at Battle Styles with that second wave coming out, those prices coming way down, where you can go on TCG Player and you can find them for $95 without even really looking that hard. You can probably find them on eBay for cheaper, and there might even be some local game stores. You might be able to find some place online that sells them for even cheaper than that. I did see one store that was selling them for $85 shipped, and just trying to get a better understanding of where the market is headed, because I do think we're kind of continuing to go in that direction, especially when it comes to sealed product. But there have been a lot of new businesses that have formed over the past year, and there's been a lot of people getting into the Pokemon game, and a lot of misunderstanding and things getting misconstrued as far as the market goes from a booster box standpoint, and how you can continue to make margins and what you're supposed to do when it comes to those booster boxes not hitting that $30 per box margin that you might typically be used to now that the market is shifting. So I just kind of want to look at things real quick. We're going to open our Google Sheet here. So this is kind of a booster box break-even point here, just something that I threw together real quickly. You're looking at a couple different outlets of where you might be selling these. Of course, there's going to be a lot of different options out there, whether you sell it on Amazon or eBay, or you have, an online brick and mortar, or you have an online storefront or a brick and mortar storefront, whatever the case may be. This is going over what you need to sell a booster box at to kind of break even. And this is why, in my opinion, again, this is just my own personal opinion, it's very tough to see $95 to $100 booster boxes, because the margins on there just aren't there. There's not a whole lot there. And I've been getting a lot of questions from a lot of people who are frustrated, understandably so, with their allocations because they're not able to get product and things like that. that. But when it comes to a lot of these new products, there's not going to be a whole lot of margins in these new products once they come out with these additional waves. Once you start getting wave 2 or wave 3, it seems like that FOMO is going to continue dying down, which we talked about a lot over the last couple of videos, being patient and not going out and trying to spend above MSRP right away when all these products are selling for way higher than they probably should. But wondering what we're going to do when we can't get those allocations. But this is really what you're looking at for a storefront or from an online Pokemon card business, just your break-even point. If you're buying wholesale from a distributor and $80 is just kind of an average, some companies that sell a lot of booster boxes and get allocated ridiculous amounts that have been doing this for a long time are going to pay well less than that $80 mark. You might see $76, $77, $78, somewhere around there. And then some newer companies that are going to be maybe joining within the past year, maybe they get a much smaller allocation, maybe they only get a few cases, or maybe they get 5-6 cases of a new set. You're going to be looking at about $82, $83 for a new set. And unfortunately, a lot of distributors have actually raised their pricing over the past year since they've seen a lot of uptick during the pandemic. So they're selling, their booster boxes at wholesale prices for $87, $88, $90 in some cases. But I just took $80 as kind of an average wholesale price. Once you factor in 4% fees of your own website, you have credit card fees, processing fees, whatever your host is, things like that, you're looking at about 4% on average. And then I took TCG Player fees, which is going to be about 13% if you use that as your outlet instead to sell. Shipping, this is kind of a generous point for a booster box. $8 is really generous. You can sell booster boxes shipping a little bit cheaper than that if you buy a small box, put the booster box in there, and put that in a priority mail bubble envelope. Some companies do that, but most companies, a lot of companies are just going to use boxes and they're going to ship UPS or they're going to ship priority, which is actually going to cost about $9, $10 depending on what zone you are in the country. So I just put $8 shipping as kind of a flat rate. Your break-even price to sell on your own website is going to be about $91.20 compared to your break-even price on TCG Player, which is $98.40. But if we go on to TCG Player right now and we look at Battle Styles booster boxes, you can see there are Battle Style booster boxes that are selling for less than that $98.40. So unfortunately, that means that some of these companies are probably taking a loss when it comes to booster boxes, when it comes to Battle Style booster boxes. The margins just aren't there. So how do you make a successful business model when you're not selling any of your sealed product for a profit at all? Because you see here, RC Games is the number one lowest listing right now on TCG Player with $94.99. They only have 283 sales, so they haven't been established for a very long time. They have 99-cent shipping, so you're looking at about $96 for a booster box. Chances are they're paying close to that $80 wholesale. Their break-even price is $98.40, so they're probably losing $1 or $2 with every transaction when it comes to selling on TCG Player. Whereas a company like Yeti Gaming, which has been established, they've been around for quite some time now, selling at $96.65, they're probably not necessarily losing money because their wholesale price is a little bit cheaper, I'm assuming, than $80. They're probably closer to that $77 mark. But even so, you're only making $1 or $2. You have to lower these prices down to this point in order to remain competitive, and that's kind of the way the market was when it came to booster boxes, before this entire boom started. So what can you do as a company or as a collector or whatever the case may be to make sure that you can continue to hit your margins when your allocations aren't there or when your profit margins aren't there? And we're going to talk about that right now. And the reason that I say that this has the opportunity for everybody to pull something out of this video is because we're going to talk about a lot of cards right now that aren't necessarily ultra rares. They're bulk cards. They're things that you don't want to, sell off as bulk or trade in as bulk because they're going to have additional value to them than what you would typically expect from a holographic card or a rare card or even an uncommon card. So many of you already know right now we are accepting bulk. We accept bulk for either cash or PayPal, or we'll accept bulk for trade-in. If you want a Battle Styles booster box, you can send us 3,000 commons and uncommons, you get a Battle Styles booster box. Same thing with Chilling Reign. If you send us in 3,000 commons and uncommons, you get a booster box of Chilling Reign for their August wave. Vivid Voltage and Evolving Skies pre-orders, we're doing 3,500 commons and uncommons. You get a Vivid Voltage box if you want that. Otherwise, you get a pre-order of Evolving Skies that'll ship to you on release day, so that way you have Evolving Skies. That information can all be found on our website, but these are cards that you don't necessarily want to send us because these cards are going to have more value to them. And I think that's important. So when you're going through your bulk to send it in, or if you're somebody who's just selling on TCG Player as a way to pad up their collection, this is just a small list of cards that I kind of compiled last night, that these are cards that you may want to hold on to. So just going through the list here, Hollow Rares, Inteleon from Chilling Reign, Mew from Evolutions. The ones that I bolded, I don't really have a reason behind bolding them. There was just a lot of Evolutions cards, a lot of Evolutions Hollows that were popping up when I was looking on TCG Player, and those are cards that kind of saw a giant spike, and I don't necessarily think that they should have a giant spike because I think that there's been a ton of Evolutions product that has opened, and I think we're really going to start entering this junk slab idea, unfortunately, once a lot of PSA returns and a lot of returns come back. I think there's going to be a lot of cards that are going to be just a giant plethora of PSA graded available cards. But if you look at Snorlax from Vivid Voltage, Mew from Unbroken Bonds, Yveltal from Team Up, Rosa from Cosmic Eclipse, Toxicroak from Sword and Shield, Jirachi from Team Up, and Giratina from Unified Minds. We're going to look at a few of these here, but if we just type in Yveltal here, the Team Up one is the one that we want to look at, so that's right here. So if we're looking at this, the market price for this card right now is a little over $10, with the listed medium price being $13. The lowest listed right now is a near mint hollow at $8.49, and if we look at the sales, these are getting sales, so it's not like it's selling flying off of the shelves, but over the last few days you're looking at 10 to 11, 12 sales for just this holographic card that was from Team Up. So I tried pulling cards. I didn't go back. I didn't include Charizard because obviously that's going to have more value to it. I didn't include any of those cards that are obviously going to be like, oh duh, of course those have more value to it. I just wanted to look at cards that might be sitting in your collection over the past year or so that you uncover just from opening packs. You might have them in your bulk box or something like that. But an Yveltal, just because of its I guess rarity and difficulty to pull, and because of competitive play, this card actually did see quite a bit of a spike, especially over the last month or so, to the point where you're looking at a $10+ card that's just a hollow rare. This is something that sells for 5 times the amount of basically any regular Art V card from the Sword and Shield era. This is 5 times as much, a lot of those, because those are selling for about $2 a piece. If we look at Mew from Unbroken Bonds, or the Mew promo from the SM215 promo from Hidden Fates, I mean, these are cards that are selling for about $10 a piece. The Mew from Evolutions is selling for about $5 or $6 a piece. But the Mew from Unbroken Bonds is the one that we want to look at. Again, a very competitive card that is in demand right now and is selling, over the last few days, several different copies are selling for above $10 a piece. So if this is a card that you have quite a few of them in your bulk, or maybe you have multiples of them, this is something that you can use as trade bait, whether you go on and trade on Reddit or Discord or Facebook or wherever you go and trade your physical cards. These are options that you have to kind of beef up your collection if you're looking to add, different ultra rares from Chilling Reign that you didn't pull yet. This is something where if you're trying to do an even trade, this is something worth about $10. That's the equivalent of 3 or 4 regular Art V cards that maybe you don't have. And somebody might want this because of competitive play or whatever the case may be. So I did just try and compile a giant list of, and it's not a huge list, but it's just a list. I went through the first several pages of TCG Player of best-selling cards based off of rarity, and that's where I combine this list for. Same thing with rares, and I'm trying to just leave this up here a little bit so you can look at it. But if you look at the rares here, just from Sword and Shield, Cincino. So this is actually a pretty decent competitive card, but this is an easy card to pull, so a lot of people are probably going to have multiple copies of this. This is selling for $3, $3.99 after shipping, which isn't a huge amount. You're not going to break the bank, but again, this is worth basically 2 Colossal Vs or 2 Flapple Vs or whatever the case may be that you want to talk about a regular Art V card from Sword and Shield. This is selling for basically double that. So this is worth more than what you might think of just based off of your bulk rate. So if you go and you sell cards, you sell bulk cards, and it doesn't necessarily even have to be to us, but if you sell them to somebody else, this is something you want to make sure that you pull out because it does have more value to it. A lot of competitive players look for these cards, and they're going to continue looking for these cards, especially a card like Cincino over the next year, because this isn't going anywhere. This is going to stay in the competitive format, whereas some of these other ones are unfortunately rotating out. But this is just a list here. Blastoise from Team Up is selling for a few dollars. Umbreon from Lost Thunder is selling for $4 or $5. Some of these are only selling for $1 to $2, which isn't a giant amount. But as competitive play starts opening up more, these are definitely cards that you start wanting to pay attention to. And these are numbers, and you really want to pay attention to the competitive scene just to see what's doing well and what might start taking off a little bit, because those are cards that you want to pull out of your bulk boxes, or cards that you might want want to ask a little bit more money for in trade, because they are going to have more value to them. Same thing with these uncommons here. Again, nothing that's going to be, nothing that's super expensive, but just something that's over the past year or two have been selling for $1 to $2 a piece. Just cards that are worth more than bulk. So they're not necessarily something that you want to send in when you're sending in your bulk, because they have more worth to them that you can use to kind of up your collection. Or if you're a storefront and you're looking at to kind of pad those margins, and you're looking at the fact that we're not making a whole lot of money off of our sealed product because we have to sell our booster boxes at $100 to remain competitive, well, then your break-even price on TCG Player, you're making $1.60 profit per booster box that you sell. So if you're only getting allocated 3, 4, 5 cases, and your allocation numbers are extremely low, and you're only making $1.60 per box, that's not a whole lot that you're going to be able to, use to keep your store open. Unfortunately, those margins don't work for a successful storefront. So you have to start figuring out other ways that you can do things. And one of those ways is why I talk about TCG Player so much, as an opportunity and an option to kind of move cards where there's just this giant conglomerate of different people who are interested in the industry and interested in the competitive card game, interested in the collectible card game. So that gives you additional options. And I just want to show you guys real quick basically how I go and find the best-selling cards on TCG Player based off of rarity. If you go to TCG Player and you just go to advanced search here, and we'll just do a hollow rare for rarity, and then if you just search, it's going to automatically, I think it automatically defaults to best selling, but you can also change that to best selling relevance, market high to lower, market low to high. We're going to leave it on best selling, and there's still a lot of vintage product that is up here, but you can tell right here, Inteleon from Chilling Rain, it's selling for $3.95 is the lowest listing. If you click on it, there's actually quite a few that have sold. This is just today, so this is, it's got 5 sales here in the morning. This is recorded, by noon, so this is earlier in the day, and then you've got a bunch from yesterday as well. So it's selling consistently for that $4 mark, which is more than a 25-cent bulk hollow or a 20-cent bulk hollow or whatever the whole bulk hollow rates are going for right now. So that's if you want to look at hollow rare. You can also look at just rare if you want to do that instead. You just search, and then it's going to keep it at best selling right now, so you can look through there, and you can see right here, Cincino is selling for $3 a piece. You have your Charizard in there. Boss's Orders as a deck exclusive. Same thing with Inteleon. But once you get to the trainers, this is where I kind of add a little bit of additional filter to it. So I always click uncommon. You don't necessarily have to do that, but I don't want to clog up the search results with too many unneeded cards. So I just hit uncommon, and then card type I like to just do item, energy, stadium, supporter, and tool. And then I just hit search, and I include energy in there because there are some energies like you see here, capture energy, which does have some value to it, and there's some other ones too. Here's weakness guard energy, which does have some value to it. But again, these aren't huge numbers by any means, but these are obviously cards that are uncommon. They're easier to pull. If you're somebody who opens up a few boxes of every set, you are going to be pulling multiple copies of these. And if you're just a collector and you just like building a master set, and you just want one master set, but you like to open up a few boxes of every new set, well, if you open up a few boxes, you're going to have, anywhere between 8 and 12 weakness guard energies that you pulled from those few boxes. And let's say you want to get, closer to a master set where you can sell 10 copies of that weakness guard energy for, close to $40. And that adds additional options for you to buy those cards that you're missing from your master set. So I always think that it's a really good thing to look at and a really good thing to keep in mind. Just a smart idea to try and keep up with the trends, and these change all the time. But if you're a storefront that's struggling to find ways to kind of offset the lower margins on booster boxes as box prices continue to fall down with these waived releases, this is a necessity to do. If you do this on TCG Player, let's say you want to get to the point where you're selling, you've got a few thousand listings on TCG Player every day that are getting updated. You're packing up 100 to 150 orders a day. That's going to really help offset those costs, and your margins from a percentage point are going to be significantly higher if you start buy listing some of these items, start working on purchasing a lot of these, let's say at discounted rates, and then turning around and selling them on TCG Player, on eBay, or whatever the case may be that your store functions best with. Or if you're a collector, this just gives you the additional options of making sure that you can add add, you know, cards that you might not necessarily have because you pulled out some cards that have more value to them from your bulk boxes. So keep that in mind, guys. I hope you enjoy information like this. If you do, we can continue going and we can talk about bulk a little bit more. We can talk about something else. Just let me know in the comments section down below what you think. Make sure to leave a thumbs up. It goes a long way for the algorithm, but most importantly, hit that subscribe button down below. You guys are amazing, and I really, really appreciate your support. So until next time, peace.